an open platform for you to express your success and happiness. This is Minutes of Greatness podcast with David and Mark.
Minutes of Greatness, myself, Mark, and David, and we are welcomed by Andy Colleran, the owner of Gym Advisors. How the hell are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm really excited. Honored to be on the very first episode of Minutes of Greatness. To be honest with you, I'm not sure I would have agreed if I'd known the name of it. But I'm feeling the pressure now to live up to a lot here. But look, I'm really excited, man.
So the whole point of the podcast is we're getting to know you and we're getting to know Gym Advisors. Luckily enough, me and Mark have got the boost and the benefit of being on Gym Advisors, the affiliate program that you have with, let's say, a lot of the equipment that you can buy also on the website and stuff like that. So a lot of the questions that we will be going balls deep into are fairly intense, if that makes sense. So I'm going to break it off, right? The first question, right, is what's the one thing you wish you had known before, let's say, when you began your career in Gym Advisors and when you were starting Gym Advisors? What's the one thing you wish you knew first?
So career is an interesting word in the first place. Like for me, I don't even know if this is a career because I was, we were talking beforehand, like I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not someone who has set out my career goals, X, Y, and Z. I've achieved every one of them. This is kind of somewhere where I was a regular person. I realized that there was a chance for a business to be born, and I decided to go for it. And if I'd known the amount of work that was in it, I might not have done it. So when you're asking what I wish I'd known, I'm glad I didn't know that because we wouldn't be here, you know. That's it. Like what I wish I'd known, how much effort it would be to change how people interact with the fitness industry. So you know yourselves, lads, it's a massive, like, online fitness particularly has kind of grown up with social media. Like obviously online fitness happened as the internet got better and we were able to sustain it, and social media did the same, and they've never really been able to kind of separate. And that's, I think online fitness has kind of suffered in that regard a little bit because
Big time.
we talk about, you know yourselves, lads, the people who are successful on social media are people with the big followings, and they're the ones who play into, are brilliant digital marketers, but they're not necessarily amazing coaches or amazing people who you want guiding your fitness journey or whatever, you know. And to kind of change that around, and that mindset around in people's heads of there's a better way, is definitely something I wish I'd known. And we're only kind of seeing it now, but look, it's we're slowly but surely making a change, you know.
It's definitely it's definitely a strange one because, like, you're right, it's the people with the big followers that are more kind of advertising their own influence than putting the health side of everything first and the wellness side, you know. So when you're looking at that perspective and giving people that have done their courses, have done their college degrees, all based on helping people and wellness and fitness and health stuff, kind of giving them that extra boost and that extra, you know, the way that, I don't know who I was talking to, but they're also part of Gym Advisors, but the way that they explained it was very good. Do you remember the yellow pages? Gym Advisors. That's why I'm all yellow at the moment. So the Gym Advisors is basically an online version of the yellow pages for the fitness industry, and like the yellow pages were fucking brilliant, if that makes sense. But obviously technology came its way, and people end up just using them as tools more than anything. And now you've created the whole purpose of an online catalog or online directory for people that are looking for, whether these are people that are from Cork, Dublin. You have the whole country in one website that you can now freely pick who would suit you best. And you can, and I know it's sometimes people will wonder, but how can you pick someone's best? You can do that by reading a biography. If you're the bio of, let's say, the gym and stuff like that. So I applaud what you've done. It's definitely something out of and I've said that before when I was on our podcast. I fucking love the idea of it. I think it's brilliant. You know, look, you're like a Richard, what's his name? Richard Grant, is it? Is that his name?
I'm not going to suggest any names there. Look, I don't want. Look, you've been you've been kind enough to like have me on your podcast, so I don't want to turn this into like an ad or whatever. But I think one thing when people see directories online, and people are kind of becoming aware of these things, is like you can obviously pay to be brought up to the top of the rankings, and you can pay to be you can game the algorithm to be at the top of the rankings and things like that. Whereas the main thing behind the gym advisors is that once you're on board, we treat you fairly and everyone gets treated the same. Like, I mean, if you go to Cork, where there's a good pickup in Cork now, I'm delighted with it. If you refresh the page once you get to the initial results, it refreshes and refreshes, and it's different people each time.
Exactly.
No one gets spotlighted, and everyone. I just feel it's not something that happens on other websites in terms of these kind of things where people are actually treated the same. You constantly pay extra few quid each time, so I'm that's one of the main things that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a fantastic idea, and it's just something different, because in a very saturated industry, it's something that stands out. And just a quick one for yourself, Andy. Will you just give us a quick run through of how you came to be in the Gym Advisors and where it came from and how it kind of grew?
Yeah, it's probably the one place you're going to get an actual story from me that's not rambling. I was living in Dublin. I'm from Sligo, back living in Sligo. Love the coast, love being home. Living in Dublin, emotionally, physically, everything. I hit a very low point, and I decided it was time to make a change. And the simplest way I could think of making a change was, I'd always been sporty and stuff, but obviously that had gone by the wayside. The easiest way I could think of getting myself some help was getting a personal trainer and getting back to exercise, because it was something I had loved. I got very lucky. I didn't realize at the time. I got very lucky. I found a guy on social media. He was brilliant. Absolutely suited me down to the ground. I'd never done weightlifting as much as I did with that guy. I worked with him for 4 months, and life changes. We had to move back home to Sligo. I turned around to him and I go, look, how do I find you or someone who does what you do back home? And he literally laughed in my face and he goes, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, send me some of their content and I'll tell you if they're a spoofer or not. And like, that was the initial conversation. Obviously a lot of market research, a lot of different stuff between now and then, a lot of water under the bridge between then and now. But that was the moment that I kind of went, that doesn't feel right. So it was then that I kind of decided, there's something here, we can make something a little bit healthier. And everything that we do now that we didn't do at the start is based on that idea that we're going to help the regular people kind of find a gym, PT, online coach,
Fantastic stuff.
Fantastic. And like you can see that it does work. And I love the whole point of like that you're not giving anyone the spotlight. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone, I feel, is, let's say, if I can only speak for the facts of Cork, a lot of people are following the wrong footsteps. And that's one way of debunking it in some way. Because let's say if you're giving someone constant spotlight and stuff like that, it's not, let's say you're not degrading everyone else, but it's just not a right turnaround, if that makes sense. So that works phenomenal. I'm going to kick you up the ass with another question. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a similar career like yours, like Gym Advisors? Don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it.
Well, look, like I said, in terms of a career or like someone who wants to take that step, because like I said, I wouldn't have considered myself an entrepreneur or someone who's capable of taking that risk. If you are someone who feels that way and you're not someone who just goes, I'm going to run my own business, that's what I want to do. If you come up with an idea or you see a gap in the market, it really has to be something you really care about. And I don't mean something that you're going to care about for a couple of years and fall away from it or whatever. Something you feel really in the depths of your heart. And that is kind of my ethos in terms of fairness, in terms of keeping everything simple. If I didn't have that passion in my heart, in my brain and my heart, everywhere else, I would not be still at it, because you get the late nights, you get the early mornings, you get the long days in between. If you don't really, really care about it, you will be found out. And I know that's kind of a tough one in terms of, how do I know I'll care about it? You'll know when you know, because if you do go try something and you're not keen on it after a few months, that's kind of it. Like you're gonna get found out. You're gonna try to cut corners, and you're gonna try and do things the wrong way. You know.
Exactly. If you don't actually have the passion for it, it'll crumble. The late nights, you'll become deprived. That makes total sense. Like if it's not driven by passion, or even, I don't know if you've seen the book Think Grow Rich. The way it's explained strangely in that is it's almost like a sexual drive. That if you don't have that much, no, you don't want to ride your business, if that makes sense. But what I mean by it is that, like, you have that drive, that passion, that, you know, that drivenness for it to succeed and to flourish. But yeah, just stating facts, don't ride your business. It'll ride you back like a donkey.
Well, speaking of, on that kind of note, like, one of my other notes would be that, like, I tried at the very start to do a lot of things on my own, and you can't do shit on your own. So you know yourselves, you're good mates, you're doing this podcast together. If I tried to carry on the way I was at the start in terms of just trying to power through and do everything on my own, you can't. And that's why I'm so delighted with. Exactly, yeah, and it's not even, yeah. So that's definitely true, but more so, like, you need people to get to buy in. You need people who are there for you when things get tough. And exactly, like, for just 2E are kind of great examples of that, you know.
Very true.
Absolutely.
I know. I'm very lucky to have Mark. All right, I'm very lucky to have Mark.
Very lucky. Very lucky we found each other. But I suppose to kind of bounce off what you just said there, Andy, what sort of resources along the way helped you? So, like, what sort of resources, as a guy who's all hands on deck and kind of running the show, what resources helped you propel the business forward?
There was a good hefty idiot tax, I think a lot of people call it at the start, and it's basically experience and doing shit the wrong way. Like, and apologies, I'm not sure how comfortable we are with swearing, so apologies about that.
We're grand.
Cool.
That'll set the table for everyone else coming after me. They can swear that.
Yeah, that's set the standard.
But no, 100%. First thing off, like, for someone who's coming along after me, don't pay your idiot tax, because I did. And learn from other people's mistakes. I paid plenty of idiot tax at the very start. Didn't know what I was doing. Tried to get too far ahead of myself. So paid money to different people who, anyone, like, fooling their money are easily parted. So when people, if you want someone to kind of come on board, and they see the money that you're willing to pay, they will take advantage of that. So make sure you know exactly what you need at different stages, because that'll happen. That was the main one that popped into my head as you were talking.
Idiot tax straight away.
Yeah. And the second one then is just your standards. Go and talk to your LEO, your local enterprise office. Particularly during these times, they've been brilliant. Different grants and everything like that. We haven't used them as much maybe as we should have, but they offer so much stuff. So exact same as fitness, mental health, all that sort of stuff. Take the first step and reach out to them, and they'll let you know what's available in your area. You know.
That's a very good point. As well as that, I was on so I'm part of the Cork Entrepreneur Network, so it's something that's run by Laura O'Connell, and only a few weeks ago that they had the local enterprise office, and it was just a small little conversation that they're having with all of us, and it was mind blowing the amount of help that's there. There's the free mentorship. There's so much. Let's say if you're on a very, very, very niche type of business, they'll actually go out and they'll research the industry and find someone expertly wise, if that makes sense, to help you with your business. So, like, we are very lucky for the resources that we have in this country that have, like, now the one thing is that you have to match 50% of any grant that you are looking for at this time. I know that. But just to do it, even if you're looking for free mentorship or about marketing, to me, digital marketing was a massive issue with me, and I'm down the line of looking to get help for my company and all that stuff, and it's phenomenal work that they give. Obviously, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was if you could name 3 influential people that have helped you in your career. I'd probably say one of them from mine would be Mark, because Mark's a legend. Got your back, bud.
Vice versa.
Or else I'll get fired, Andy. That's the problem.
I like your style. That's always look out for number one, man. I think the first person I'd like to kind of even give some nod to, and it's literally the person who there'd be no gym advisors if it wasn't for them, and it's the web developer who is behind us and with us on this job. We link it back into the idiot tax. We went to a company to kind of get them to initially get us up on up and running with a website. Things went wrong with that side of things, and they kind of, I don't know if you want to say it, they went bust, or they kind of went a little bit, it went awry at least. And the developer came to us and said, I have been working on this site. I've got another job at the minute, but if you want me to carry on, I can carry on building this website. And it was at a point, because obviously things had gone wrong a little bit and it was a little bit of adversity. Maybe we were thinking, oh shit, is there any point in this? Will I just go back and carry on with what I was doing or whatever? So if we hadn't had that conversation, who knows where we'd be? And he's a genius with what he does. He's incredible. And I'm not sure we fully show off what he can do with the gym advisors because we intentionally keep it really simple. But he's just brilliant at what he does. And if he hadn't been sound enough to kind of come to me, and if he hadn't been building it in the background, we might not be where we are, you know. And then aside from that, look, I'm going to be fairly generic here. My family are the ones who taught me the kind of ethos of being fair and keeping everyone being as honest and keeping everything as simple and being as fair to everyone as possible.
You're nurtured well, I'd say.
Well, yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Good
but
stuff.
they, like, great, being the youngest of four, I saw a lot of unfairness. So when three lads are bullying you above you, you kind of wonder where's the fairness in life.
The fine line.
yeah. So that's kind of brought me to wanting everything to be as fair as possible and seeing the unfairness in the world and trying to kind of ride it a little bit, you know. And then look, Edel is amazing. My partner, like, there'll be no the long days and the whatever else. She's incredible. And then look, this sounds so corny, like especially talking to two of our members and stuff. But like, the reason that, again, talking about there not being a gym advisor and not doing it on your own. If it was just me chatting shite into a mic and a podcast and whatever else work we do, there would be no business in this whatsoever. So our members, they're the experts. They're the people who genuinely really care about their clients. And it's chatting to them every day has got me through this lockdown and everything else. So they're class, and I'm just all we're trying to do is kind of raise the volume of their voices beyond social media and stuff, you know.
Like, the people that you have had on is phenomenal work. Like, the expertise on your own. The Gym Advisors podcast is you know, you have a very good widespread of the fitness industry. Do you know, it's not just the border of, you know, bodybuilding and all the things that a lot of people will go to. It's a diverse line of podcast episodes that you would have, and I love it. I think it's great. Definitely, if anyone is listening, hopefully, that definitely give Gym Advisors podcast a listen. Whoever's listening, anyway. But look, who knows? Charles Manson, oh fuck, he's dead, so he's not watching. But but yeah, like, like, I know it's a crazy question, or even the three influences that really help you. But look, without family, there are a lot of the trials and tribulations that we adapt and learn from, and without the Gym Advisors, if you had no members or anything like that. So you're dead right. And if you didn't mention Adele, you'd probably be kicked out of the house, or you'd probably
that was a mandatory one, really, wasn't it?
Mandatory one. Mandatory.
She's behind the camera here, so we're
something was getting chopped off if that wasn't.
But no, like, they're all very valid answers. Like, they say you're a product of the people you spend the most time with, and I kind of guess the people you went through there would have been people you spent a lot of time with, so they kind of help shape the person that you are and kind of help shape your environment as such, you know. So like, they're very, very valid answers. I think mine would be down a similar kind of line if I was to answer the question too, you know.
I think that's a really good point, and I think a lot of it goes back to myself. And I'm not sure you obviously use social media and stuff, but like, I'm kind of sick of putting one person up on a pedestal, you know, and that's why I kind of grouped them together. But like, someone you don't know, and that's kind of why social media is a little bit flawed, in that someone has a lot of followers, we're going to buy into that person or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's probably the biggest flaw with social media, unfortunately, in today's age, especially surrounding the industry that we're involved in. it's very easy, like, for the aesthetically pleasing people to be here. And if you're not as aesthetically pleasing, you could be down here, even if your output is here and their output is here. No, it's not always the case, but there's a strong showing of it. Like.
But that's the poor thing about social media, that like there's so many people on social media that we even know that goes to the Planet Gym, and they're fucking phenomenal. The stuff that they put out is true, honest, and it's stuff that's not BSing anyone or putting them down a waist trainer lane or ketosis. Do you know, look, it's there's a fine line between spreading bullshit and just being honest, if that makes sense. So like, and it's a lot of the people that are just being thrown under the bus, if that makes sense. And it's a sad, that's the one thing that I hate about social media, that it's almost like the criminals are becoming rich and the poor are getting poor. Do you know, the people with the less followers and giving fucking brilliant knowledge out there and stuff like that. That's like going back to the gym advisors and stuff like that. That's why those things are. It's giving everyone a spotlight and everyone a platform that they can.
Fair platform, yeah.
A fair platform. Absolutely. You know, it's there's no dictatorship or anything like that on. So if Mark Zuckerberg does listen to this, you better fucking fix that algorithm or else I'll break your leg. Well, lads, this has been a fine, great podcast. Just to finish it off, I do have one question, right? And I did want to throw one kind of super weird question, right? If you were to step in my shoes, right? So you know from my podcast what I do and stuff like that. If you were to step in my shoes, what would you have done in my career correctly that I haven't done? Or what would you have done in my lane? Is the weird one. This one took me about 40 minutes to explain in my head how to explain. I'm still failing, but if you were in my shoes, what would you do that I haven't done yet to put me on a better lane or a better track or a better story? Can you hear me?
Sorry, David. I don't like. Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry. Now, do you mean in terms of this podcast, or do you mean in terms of your career?
Career, business information wise, or anything. What would you do if you were in my shoes, career wise? Let's say. What would be the best?
Well, I'm going to be a terrible podcast guest, and I'm going to say, because I don't know your situation, and because I don't know all of your what's going on, where you're starting from, I can't give you an answer. But I'll tell you what, that is exactly what the problem is with social media and with generic plans and things like that. That advice should be taken from where am I starting from, and that's one of my major problems. I know I'm slagging off social media here a good bit, but it comes from anywhere. Whatever you see on TV, whatever you see in the newspaper, whatever else, whatever you see on your phone. Ask yourself: is their advice applicable to me? Do I have the same amount of hours that I can dedicate to working out in the gym? Do I have the same desire to look like that? We talk about comparison, be a thief of joy and all that sort of stuff. Don't compare your page 1 to chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Whereas in reality, they're not even on chapter 20. They're on chapter 20 of a different fucking book. So it's just the idea of making sure that advice you get takes into account all the different factors. And that's kind of my biggest takeaway in terms of what's going on social media these days. And I am 100% aware that I did not answer your question, but at the same time, I don't know your situation, so I'm not going to kind of offer advice.
I think you gave some solid information there, at least. You know, like don't judge your own book cover on other book covers, if that makes sense. So you're dead right. Create your own journey and all that stuff. So, yeah, lads, I have to say, brilliant episode 1. Thank you so much. And if you could give Gym Advisors at Gym Advisors on Instagram a follow. You have a YouTube channel as well, correct?
Yeah, for a few of the podcasts.
Plug yourself in, Andy.
Plug yourself in.
We're basically everywhere. Like, just search the Gym Advisors. But the main thing that I would ask people to do, I suppose, is just check out the site and reach out to people who are on there in terms of the really good coaches and the really good gyms owners we have on there. Just check out how it works. Take the power a little bit away from social media. We are launching an online fitness section this week. So by the time you listen to this, it should be live or very near live. And literally what you have to do is you come onto the site, you'll click online fitness, and you will answer a maximum of 6 multiple choice questions, and we'll show you the profiles instantly of everyone else. None of this nonsense of us going off and asking them questions and stuff. You'll see them instantly. And that takes out the barrier of, if you're in Cork, you only see people from Cork or whatever, you know. Not that you'd ever want to leave Cork, people, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
People from other counties coming to Cork, is it?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
That's brilliant. So thank you so much for coming on for our first episode. Absolute pleasure. Also like to throw in, if anyone would like to go on to Gym Advisors and buy any merchandise at all or any equipment, you can also use my affiliate code FIAN10.
I was the one plugging.
Thank you, and again, lads, much appreciated. First episode done and dusted, and thank you to anyone that's listening and following the greatness or the minutes of greatness. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you and good night.